Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest online event here at the University of California, Merced. My name is Ricky Hill. I am your e-recruiter, and it is always such a pleasure to be hosting and moderating these lovely events with you. So I'm very happy to be here with you tonight, and even more thrilled that you are joining us tonight. Tonight's event has to do with living on campus. So if you have any questions about what that is like at UC Merced, you have come to the right place. And during this event, we will also be holding back some time at the end for a live question and answer session. So make sure that you do have those questions ready to go as well. Before we get started, let me give you a couple of quick Zoom refreshers. If you need to adjust your audio settings, you can do that in the lower left corner of your screen. If you'd like to at any time adjust the size of your window, click on View Options in the upper portion of your screen. Lastly, and most importantly, I did mention that question and answer opportunity. You should see a Q&A button on your screen. Go ahead and click that button. Another dialog box will appear that you can send us your question, and we will look at those throughout the event behind the scenes. We are fully staffed, but we will also save some of those towards the end of this great event tonight. Once again, my name is Ricky Hill, your e-recruiter, and I'm so excited to be here with you tonight. And at this time, I'd like to hand things over to our main presenter and my friend, Ange.
Awesome. Thank you, Ricky, so much. Now I'm super excited. I see amazing people on the screen, and we're here to talk to you today about what does it mean to live and learn on campus, right? At the end of the day, when you're looking at UC Merced, it's all about becoming a Bobcat. But first things first, when you become a Bobcat, you're going to move on to campus, right? Or at least that's our hope. And so when you're joining the Bobcat community, a lot of the times we're going to be thinking about, all right, when I'm moving from home or from where I am to on campus, what does that really look like? And so we're going to talk about the residential student experience, right? And the on-campus support that you get during your time here, the benefits of living on campus, as well as our residential curriculum, some of the programming events that we've had just this year, as well as our living and learning communities, also known as our LLCs. On top of that, you'll also learn about some campus resource. Now, when we're talking about resident education, that's actually where you live, right? So it's housing and resident education, and resident education is seen by myself. It's the director of resident education, but we also have all these amazing people. We'll have associate directors, we have resident education coordinators, resident assistants who are your peers who live and work on campus, as well as our office assistants who, again, are your peers, who are student employees who live here on campus as well. And so at the end of the day, when you're looking at our support staff, all those on-campus people, those resident education coordinators are full-time staff members who live on campus who are here to respond and help you in times of need. So after hours, if there's an emergency, if there's something that you need help with, there's actually staff in the residence halls who are able to assist you. On top of that, you also have resident assistants who are student leaders. So you yourself could one day become a resident assistant, work on campus, and help your peers as well. And their main part and role on campus is to make sure that they're connecting people with the academic support, with all the resources, providing events, all the fun things to do. And exactly what you heard right there, all the fun things to do will happen when you live on campus. Now, and on top of that, you all also have the opportunity to participate in a resident hall association. So you, again, could participate as a student leader, being able to decide, hey, what are some of the things that we want to see on campus? What are some of the things we want to see in the residence halls? Maybe it's a trip to Six Flags. Maybe it's a huge carnival with bounce houses, whatever it may be. Your experience here on campus is also driven by your ability to participate and have that voice here. Now, all this on-campus support is amazing, yes. So you have the RAs, you have the RECs, right, who live alongside with you so that you're able to make the best experience that you can have here. There's also a service desk, so that's where you can get your mails when you get locked out. When life happens, you can go to that desk and ask for any resources. There's also free toilet paper, free trash bags, all these things that we offer to our residents so that they can have the best experience here. And at the end of the day, our staff is just here to answer your questions. So maybe you have questions about life, maybe you have questions about your classes, maybe you're just, hey, where can I find an on-campus job? Our on-campus staff is best here to support you however they can. Now, all of that is great, but you're looking to live on campus. So what does that really mean? Well, We have over 8 different residential communities on campus that comprises of 18 buildings. Now, most of our first year, second year students live on what we call South Campus. So that's Glacier Point, Granite Point, Sentinel Rock, El Portal. So when you're looking into living on campus, definitely check out those buildings. There's online tours that we have on our website that you can look to see what does that room look like? What is the layout of the room? What is the measurements? And that's all available for you online on our website. Now, at the end of the day, you're like, Ange, why should I live on campus? Well, there's a lot of benefits. First things first, it gives you direct access to all the campus resources. You're right there on campus, as well as it gives you that connection to community, connection to your professors, connection to each other, and it helps save time and money, right? Instead of having to worry about commuting, well, you're right there on campus, so you can roll out of bed if you want, brush your teeth, then start walking to class. Right? It also gives you that enhanced academic performance, which I'll talk about a little bit later on, but it also gives you that improved safety and security, right? We have our campus police, so we call them UCMPD for short, or Cat Cops is also their nickname, and they're here on campus to also provide you with that support. So maybe you're like, hey, Ange, I'm a little bit nervous walking at night. I am too. I don't like the dark. Right? You can call Cat Cops for an escort to walk you from one place to another on campus. Right? But at the end of the day, you're here to be part of the Bobcat community, right? And so with all of that, you'll be able to make friends, attend events, do all the things, have that college experience that you're looking for while living on campus. And another fun fact, there's actually unlimited meal plan. Now, on top of everything I just shared, there's also free laundry. Now, I don't know about y'all. I hate doing my laundry, but the fact that I hear that it's free makes me want to do my laundry a little bit more, right? So that means you don't have to take out the quarters. You don't have to take out your card. All you do is open that machine and it's paid for you, right? So you just do your laundry, make sure to put some soap in there, make sure to dry it, but that laundry is free for you to use, or laundry machine is free for you to use while you're here on campus. There's also a lot of other things to do. I know I talked about programs, events, but there's outdoor basketball and tennis courts that you're able to use. There's lounges and game rooms. So we have pool tables, we have foosball tables, we have ping pong, whatever you can name. We have it within the residence halls for you to engage with each other. Maybe you have a foosball tournament, see who's the best on that floor, and you'll be able to really engage with each other. And maybe, you know what, you're like, hey, Ange, I like to dance. Well, guess what? We have a dance room as well, right? So we have all these different things available, amenities available for you on campus. But when you really look at it and come down to it, when you're looking to live on campus, we're here to give you a residential scholar experience, right? We want to help you grow into the person that you want to be. So what does that look like? Well, we have our CATS pillars, right? We're here to make sure that you build connection, that you have awareness of the things that are going around, that you become a transformative learner and leader, as well as you're aware of the services that we have, right? And so it's an educational priority, but at the same time, we want to make sure that your experience here has this well-rounded thing that you see, where you have that community engagement, you have cultural competence, academic preparedness, and at the end of the day, have personal responsibility. Now, I talked about all these different programs that we have. Well, this is a handful of what we had so far. So just a couple weekends ago, we had a pool party that we partnered up with Rex and our athletics department to make sure that we're able to provide the students with a way to de-stress after midterms, right? So our RAs, our resident assistants, our student leaders threw a huge pool party where they were able to have snacks, all those fun things, play around in the pool, play pool games, all those things, and being able to just engage and have fun with each other after a stressful week. Other things we do when we're looking towards service and awareness, right? We also do cleanups, right? And so our RAs also put on this amazing Bobcats clean event at the nearby lake to just show people, hey, you know, this is what sustainability looks like. This is what it looks like our impact has on the community around us, right? And just learning more about the things that we can do. On top of that, there's also other fun events like just eating pancakes. I don't know about you, I love pancakes. We can start the debate about pancakes, waffles, and French toast, but here we have a pancake event, right? Where you're able to just go and meet some people in your community. You can decorate your door tags, you can paint and plant some things, right? So there's a lot of fun things to do. while living here on campus. Now, when you're living on campus, we talked about also learning. And right, so when we're looking at the living learning communities, at the end of the day, this is a specific program that we have available to our first year students to participate in, right? You don't have to, this is optional, but I really encourage you all to think about, what are LLCs and how does that benefit me and my growth as a student, right? Because when you look here, living learning communities are programs that allow for you all as students to connect with other students who may have a common interest, right? A common focus. And it allows you to live together, to participate in different projects, courses, events that will happen, and you all get to do it together as one group. Now, when you're looking at the living learning communities, there's a whole bunch of different ones that we have available for our residential students. There's Fiat Lux, which is an invitation only. We have Afro Hall, transfer students, service, entrepreneurship, public health, beyond the MD, right? All these different type of LLCs that can be connected to your major, that can just be connected to your interests, that can be connected to what it is that you actually want to do after UC Merced, right? So giving you that starting point. Maybe you want to become a doctor. Well, guess what? Beyond the MD or even the health scholars can get you onto that pathway and also connect you and help you network with other people within the same realm or alumni who have been in that area as well, right? So it's also giving you connections, not just at UC Merced, but also beyond. Now, when you're looking at the living learning communities, at the end of the day, right, it's a program that's meant to help you succeed academically, right? So yes, it's part of the residence halls, it's part of the programs, it's part of the things that you'll attend, but there's also that academic piece that allows you to enhance your ability to learn within the classroom. And from that, you'll be around all these amazing people who are within the same classes, around the same grade levels, all these different things that allow you to utilize them and your faculty members as a way to continue to grow who you are as a student, as a scholar here at UC Merced. Now, on top of the academic piece, guess what? It's about being around people who's like-minded like you, who has the same interests, who has the same goals. Maybe you're coming from a school by yourself and you don't know anyone at UC Merced. Well, guess what? The living learning communities give you an opportunity to meet people, right? Give you an opportunity to meet people, not just where you live, but also in class. And it's an intentional program that allows you to develop those relationships based on those interests. And, at the end of the day, when you're looking at the LLCs, definitely take a look at the website. It will give you a full description of what each of the LLCs are, as well as allow you to see when the application period is for those LLCs. Like I shared before, there's only a limited amount of spots, so it's important to apply as soon as you can and see which LLC you want to apply for so that you can get that spot before the next person, right? And then if you have general questions, always email resident education, and then we can help direct you to the right person in terms of the living learning communities. Now, at the end of the day, when you're looking at the housing services, right, it's like, all right, so we're going to have all these cool things. We're going to have these programs, we have this support, but how do you live on campus? Well, you have to apply. And here at UC Merced, we have a 2-year guarantee for our incoming first-year students, right? So that means you are guaranteed on-campus housing for the first 2 years that you're here at UC Merced, right? And those are academic year contracts. So that's from the start of the school year, which is August, all the way until the end of the academic year, which is May, right? And so when you're looking at room and board, so there's different types of rooms. There's singles, there's doubles, triples, quads, right? Definitely check out our website, because then you'll be able to see what does that really look like for the layouts. But know that most incoming students are assigned to triples, right? So when you're checking out those rooms, definitely check out what a triple looks like so that you can plan ahead and plan accordingly. And then the rates for each of those rooms are on our website. And so I believe they posted in the chat for you all to see, right? So definitely check that out. But as I said before, we have unlimited meal plans. And so you're like, Ange, what does that mean? That means you can eat as much as you want in the pavilion. And I'll talk about that a little bit more, right? The only difference in the price is how much CAT dollars you have, right? And you're like, what is CAT dollars? So I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on, right? But when you're looking at living on campus, there's 3 things you need to think about. How long am I staying on campus? what type of room, and what is the type of meal plan that I want, right? So that's what you need to think about in terms of planning to apply for on-campus housing, as on top of what LLC am I looking to be in. Now, at the end of the day, when we're looking at the additional campus services and resources, the first thing I'm going to talk about is your CAT card, right? And so one thing that maybe differ from what you may be used to at other institutions, or heard at other institutions, is we are one card campus. And so what that means is your student ID is the ID that will take you everywhere on campus and off. Right, so that allows you to get into the residence halls. It allows you to purchase food, swipe your meal plan. It allows you to get onto transportation, right? It allows you to utilize other services like in the library, or just being able to make photocopies, right? All that stuff is done through your student ID, but one thing that we also have is your mobile ID. So sometimes we might forget our physical ID, and that's okay. Right? We're human, mistakes happen, or I'm one person that always forgets my ID somewhere in someone's office, right? But then you also have your mobile ID that you can utilize for all those things as well. Now, when you're looking towards living on campus, you got to eat, right? You have to be able to feed yourself. And so we have a whole bunch of different options for you to be able to eat on campus. First one being is the Pavilion Dining Center. Now, when I said you had unlimited meal plans, I definitely meant it, right? You're able to go into the pavilion as many times as you want between the time of 7 a.m. all the way to 9 p.m. So if you wanted to go for 7 a.m. breakfast before practice, then after class you wanted a snack, and then after that you decided to have lunch, and then after that you wanted another snack, and then you want a dinner, and then you want a late dinner. I don't even know how many meals I counted, but that's how many times you can go in, and you don't have to worry about whether or not you have enough meal credits to be able to eat. It's unlimited. Now, on something to note, right, when I say unlimited, specific to the pavilion and the other dining center that we call the YWDC, right? Those two dining centers, you can use your meal plans as much as you want. Now, the Lantern Cafe, that is our on-campus cafe where you can get your pumpkin spice lattes, you can get lemonade, all those other things, quick snacks, right? That you do have to use your CAT dollars or credit or debit card. And so that's where the CAT dollars come in, right? That's where you're able to put like a credit onto your student ID and say, hey, I don't want to carry around cash. I don't want to carry around my debit card. It's just here on my student ID, and you'll be able to swipe for some meals, swipe for that pumpkin spice latte. Right. Same thing for the food trucks. You can use your CAT dollars to swipe for tacos or whatever it is that you want to eat that we have for that day. We also have a boba food truck that comes by. You can swipe for your boba fix, right? Now, when you're looking at living on campus, yes, there's all these meals, there's all these resources, and there's all these different things. But at the end of the day, you also need to be aware of how you're gonna feed yourself and all those other resources that we have, right? So we're open 7 days a week for food. You don't have to worry about where you're gonna get your next meal because the pavilion is always open for you all. And then we also serve special meals from St. Patrick's Day to whatever holiday is coming up, even National Garlic Day. And if there's something that you want to see, maybe it's like, hey, this holiday had happened, but you all didn't do anything special for it, let the staff know. And they're more than happy to come up with something so that we are able to celebrate whatever it is that our student population wants to celebrate. And so what you see here is some examples, right? We had a Holly last year. We had St. Patrick's Day lunch. All these different things that we had available because our students shared with us that that's what they wanted. And last but not least, you're probably like, hey, all right, if I live on campus, how do I get around Merced? Well, there's two different ways. You could have your own personal car, right? And so we do offer campus parking. You do have to get a parking permit, but all campus residents are eligible to apply for a parking permit, right? And so that's something that you would be able to do. So if you wanted to bring your car with you to get around, you can. You just have to apply for a parking permit. The other thing is maybe you don't have a car and you're like, Ange, I don't want to drive. I don't want to have to deal with bringing a car. No worries. We actually have a UC Merced bus system that we call CAT Tracks that take you all around campus. This allows you to get from campus to Target, to Walmart, to the mall, to Wingstop, right? It takes you to all these different places, the doctor's office, wherever it is that you need to go, right? And it goes all around the city of Merced. And so you'll be able to have free access to that utilizing your CAT card. And so it's a shuttle service that takes you to anywhere that you need within campus, right? And last but not least, there's also other ways to get around Merced. So there's the regular bus. So this is aside from CAT tracks, aside from the UC bus system. There's the city bus that does stop at UC Merced. There's also Amtrak that can take you anywhere from Merced to Sacramento to Oakland to Los Angeles, wherever you need to go. Amtrak can take you, or wherever you need to go, Amtrak can take you, right? And then we also do have a small airport. It's a regional airport called Advanced Air, and they're able to also take you to Los Angeles and Las Vegas, right? So you do have various means of transportation while living here on campus. Now, that was a lot of information, right? But you're like, Ange, I don't want to do any of that. Well, there's still different options for you, right? So there's Zipcar. So you can rent your own car that we have here on campus. You can take Greyhound. There is Lyft and Uber. So if you were just looking for a quick way to get from point A to point B, you can Lyft somewhere, you can Uber somewhere. And so there's multiple ways for you to be able to transport yourself around the city of Merced and beyond, right? Now, that was a lot of information. At the end of the day, when you're looking to live on campus, it's all about being able to immerse yourself in the Bobcat community, right? Being able to attend events, being able to, say hi to your friends down the hall, having those study groups, being able to just say, hey, can you help me with something? And knowing that the resources that you need are right below you, or just down the way from Scholars Lane. And so what I want to do is I'm going to pass it back over to Ricky for the Q&A session.
Thank you so much, Ange. You are right. That was a lot of information, but so helpful. I hope our audience has been taking some notes or maybe some screenshots along the way. And just for our audience, if you do have a question, this is your time for us to go ahead and get to those. Some of you have sent some in as we've been going through this presentation, but that opportunity is still open for you. So go ahead and take advantage of that Q&A button. Click on that button, send us your question, and we will get to those momentarily. Also, if there's a slide that maybe you'd like us to put back up for you, go ahead and drop that in the Q&A also. And we can take a moment and find that slide for you and pop it back up so that you can take a screenshot or little picture with your smartphone. Also important to note, we are recording this event tonight, as we always try to do for you, and it should be available online in just a day or two once we get this up onto our YouTube channel, which is at Life at UC Merced. And you'll be able to watch this as an on-demand instant replay and then go back through and pause as many times as you need to. All right, well, having said that, let's go ahead and jump into our questions. So the first one that I see, they're asking what types or styles of dorm rooms do we have in our residence halls?
Definitely. Thank you for asking. So when we're looking at types, so there is about 4 different room types, right? So there is the single, there's the double, the triple, and the quad. So single means that you have a room that's to yourself, right? It can or cannot have, it may or may not have a bathroom, right? Same thing with the double. So double means that you're living with one other person. Triple means you're living with 2 other people. So it's 3 people in that room total. And quad means that there's 4 people within that space together. Now, that is the room type. Now we also have additional variations where you could be in a double suite. So that means that you could be in a double room that's connected to another double room with a bathroom in between, right? So we have a good variation of different types of residence halls. Definitely check out our website. When you're looking at the different types of buildings, it will go through specifically which each building has, as well as give you the opportunity to do a tour, as well as see the layout of each room and what does that mean to be in a double suite, triple suite, or just a straight triple.
Very good. And then how do they go about selecting their roommates, or do we pick their roommates for them?
Yeah, so there's 2 different ways. So depending on when you apply, right? So if you apply by the specific deadline period, I think it's the priority deadline period, you should be able to pick your own roommate. Not only would you be able to pick your own roommate, you can also pick the space that you're going to live in, right? And so that's very important to make sure that you apply before the deadline date. So not just right before it, but do it a few days before that so that you can make sure to have that opportunity to pick your roommate and to be able to pick where you're living. If you don't know anyone, there's also an opportunity for you to pick and choose based on some preferences, right? So there might be other people who might not know anyone coming to Merced, or has a very preference on the noise level of the room or whatever it may be, and you'll also be able to navigate through that and help pick a roommate through there.
Very good. And also another question coming in from several people, are they required to live on campus?
So students are not required to live on campus. It is highly encouraged to live on campus though. I myself, when I moved to Merced a few months ago, it was definitely interesting housing market, right? So if I had the opportunity to live on campus and not have to worry about utilities, not have to worry about internet, gas, trash, water, all these different things, cable, definitely if you have the opportunity to live on campus, I would say do it, not just because I'm the director of resident education, but it also takes off a lot of the worries or hardships that could come with living off campus.
Sure. And a couple of things, Ange, that I know that you mentioned and that it comes up in some of our other webinars as well, that one of the huge benefits of living on campus that I think you and I both could speak to, and many people that are alumni, no matter what university they've gone to, it is so convenient to just walk out of your room and go show up at your class within a 5-minute walk, or sometimes less than that. Like you gave an example during your presentation, you roll out of bed, hopefully you brush your teeth and your hair, you go on a little walk, maybe you grab a muffin or a banana or something from the pavilion on your way, and you're already there. You don't have to worry about driving to campus, parking, loading up your backpack and walking all the way across campus. Even though we have a pretty tight campus, it's not that big of a walk, but just imagine saving yourself all of that time. I know for me, when I lived on campus during that time, not at UC Merced, but another institution, it was so convenient to just take a short stroll. And then when you're done, you take that short stroll back to your room, take a nap, you study. It's just really convenient. So if you haven't done it or haven't considered it, I'm not the residence director, but I also think that you should give that a look. That's why we're here to talk about this tonight. Okay, let's see. Another question. Okay, so this has come through a couple times as well. How does living on campus help someone academically? I know we've just both kind of touched on the convenience, but what would you say about how it helps someone academically be successful?
Yeah. I don't remember the percentage exactly, but a recent study showed that those who live on campus their first year have a higher rate of graduating, right? And you're probably like, and what do you mean by that? Well, when you're really looking at living on campus, it's about that direct access and direct connection to resources, right? So normally when you're looking at school, you have your professors, maybe you have your teaching assistants, you could have some tutors, stuff like that. But when you're living on campus, you have that as well as resident assistants, you have learning coordinators, you have peer success mentors, you have the resident education coordinators, you have a lot more touch points when you're living on campus. And so you just have this direct access to a little bit more resources. And so when you're looking at academics, it's like, hey, let me talk to my RA about this class that I'm currently having trouble in, and they can give you the direct resource either to that tutor, or they can also give you a direct resource to another peer that they know did really well in that class. And so even for me, when I was a student living on campus, I struggled in calculus, right? That was not my jam. And what happened was I reached out to my RA and I was like, hey, I'm really struggling in calculus. I was also a basketball player, and so it was just like, I don't know, the tutor for whatever reason didn't have a time slot open for me. And what I was able to do is at 9 p.m. at night, one of my friends that lived on the floor that actually was really good at calculus took the time out and tutored me, right? So there's a lot of different ways that you can have resources, not just the traditional ways of staffing and things like that. It's also being able to have that peer support from the people around you.
Very good. And now we've had a few people also ask tonight, are they allowed to bring outside guests onto campus? So you live in one of our residence halls in one of our dorms. What if you have friends who don't live there? Are you allowed to bring them on?
Yes. So guests are permitted long as, and if you have a roommate, long as your roommate also agrees, right? And so that's something that you should have a conversation with your future roommate about, when can guests come over, or at what time and stuff like that. But yes, guests are definitely welcome onto our campus. They can come to our events, all those fun things. That pool party you saw, they could definitely have come and enjoyed and met other people as well.
Very good. And then we've talked about all of the different buildings that we have, the newer construction over the last couple of years that launched a few years ago, and as well as those that aren't really that much older, if we really look at our master timeline here. But what do our residence halls look like in terms of the bathroom situation? Do they have rooms attached to the bathrooms? Is it a shared bathroom per floor? Can we talk a little about that?
Yeah, so when you're looking towards South Campus, a lot of it is community restrooms, right? So what that means is there's gender-specific restrooms, and then there's gender-inclusive restrooms, or gender-neutral. And so for the gender specific restrooms, you'll have one that's specific for like toilets, brushing your teeth, stuff like that. And then you'll have another restroom that's specific for showering, right? And so those are closed showers that you're able to bring your shower caddy in and utilize that way. We also do have other residence halls, some mostly in North Campus, where it could be the suite situation. So you have 2 rooms that are connected by a bathroom. You could have Valley Terrace would be an example of, it's kind of like an apartment style. I can't call it an apartment because it doesn't have a kitchen, right? But it has a living room, and it also has a bathroom within that specific suite space, right? And so that's a few different ways that we have bathrooms here on campus.
Very good. Then we've also had some questions coming in about the priority deadline for filing. I want to go ahead and drop into our chat a couple of different links that we do have for important dates and deadlines. So I'll go ahead and drop this over, but I'm not sure if you had anything that you may want to add to that regarding applications for housing.
Yeah, so if I remember correctly, the application should be available soon, if not already. And so when you log on, for me, myself, I'm definitely a procrastinator. I'll wait until like the night before the deadline. But if you're able to apply sooner, right, that gives you a higher spots on the list, right? And so we do a first come, first serve based on when people apply. So if you are able to apply as soon as the application becomes open, I would do so, right? Because then that would give you like spot number 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth, right? We can't tell you exactly what spot you're in yet, but that will give us the starting point of how we make the decisions on the first come, first serve basis. Also, when you apply, make sure to check off all the boxes, look at the LLCs, do all those different things, as well as sign the contract once it becomes available. So you'll fill out the application once, and then you'll get an email notification saying, hey, we got your application, here's the next step. And it's very important that you do the next step, because that next step will allow you to be able to pick your roommates, pick your room, do all those fun stuff to get settled in for the academic year.
Great advice. Yes, please continue to check your email on a regular basis. If that's not something that you do right now, maybe you are more phone heavy and you're looking at text messages or social media, something like that, which, by the way, we have a lot of social media channels that I can share in a bit as well, that we do actually offer some of these important tips and tricks, dates and deadlines, things on those as well. But email is one of our primary ways to communicate with you. And that's everything from your admissions application, your acceptance offer, all the way through housing and other aspects during that time period. So it's very important that you glance at your email every day, every couple days at the very least, so that you don't miss out on some of these great opportunities. It might not even be just picking a room or picking a roommate. It might be some fun event that's coming up or a study opportunity that you don't want to miss out on. So definitely keep an eye on that email. Okay, our next question. We have talked about several resources tonight, and someone is asking if those same resources are available to students who do not live on campus, or are they exclusive to our residents here?
Awesome. Yeah, I love that question and for thinking ahead. So when you're looking at some of the resources, it is like a yes and no, right? We're definitely the community where if you have a question, please ask anyone, right? And so if you have a question, the RAs are student leaders, right? Which means they're not specific to just the residence halls. They wear their leadership cap when they're in the class, when they're walking around campus. So there's someone you can ask questions to, but to have that direct one-on-one response, or have that resource in that sense, they won't be getting that off campus, right? So the living learning community is a specific for those who live on campus, right? The RAs are student leaders. They're available to anyone to ask questions to, but a lot of who they service and help are those who live on campus, right? But anyone who has questions, if they see me walking around campus, you're more than happy to ask me and I'll direct you to the right person or try to answer it myself, right? But in the sense of those specific programs, it is exclusive to those who live on campus. But for other things like those programs, so the pool party, other events that we have on campus, those are open to everyone that's part of the UC Merced community.
Very good. And now jumping back over to the dining options that we have, if someone has any type of dietary need or some type of special preference in some way, maybe it's gluten-free, they're vegan, or it might be something different, how do they go about doing that? I know they can speak with the chef, right? Set up a time.
Yeah, so I love our dining service team. They are so open to meeting with students. So if you have an allergies, you just reach out to them, set up a time to meet, and they'll figure out what they can and cannot do, right? And then if something is needed more than that, that is also, you can reach out to the accessibility service team, and they can also figure out how they can best support you. I myself have a lot of allergies, and I remember I sat with the chef and they noticed I was only eating so much, and they're like, hey, what's wrong? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm allergic to so-and-so. And they're like, give me 1 second. And they took me to different places to show me like what are other options that I had available for me to eat as well, right? So unlimited meal plan isn't just a meal plan for like anyone who can eat anything, right? It's available for everyone. And so all you have to do is reach out, let your RA know, let myself know, let the dining team know, and we'll figure out what is the best solution we can come up with.
Fantastic. All right, another popular question that always comes in is what types of items should our students and our new residents plan on bringing with them, and what is on that list of what not to bring? And I will go ahead and drop a link into the chat that does go over to a website, but let's touch on that a bit.
That is my favorite question, because if I can get ahead of for that question is the best. So when you're looking at the spaces at the end of the day, right, if you're in a double, triple, or quad, right, it's only so much space. So if you're packing up a U-Haul that's like 20 feet long, don't do that, right? Just try to bring all the necessities that you have. You don't have to bring your whole closet. Maybe you do, to each their own, right? But when you're looking at things not to bring, we're not bringing any kitchen appliances, or we're not bringing a rice cooker. I love rice. That is my meal for every single meal. But we can't have a rice cooker. Any crock pots, any air fryers, anything like that is not permitted in the residence halls, right? And will be asked to be removed. Other things that we can't have in the residence halls are lava lamps, right? Anything that basically can set on fire. So toasters, toaster ovens. What other things can I name off the top of my head? Weapons obviously aren't permitted. If you're wondering if it can harm someone or cause a safety issue, most likely don't bring it, right? But the things you can bring, so we have twin XL beds. So when you go out to shop for your new bedding or whatever it is that you want to utilize, you want to look for twin XL, right? And I think right now there's some on sale. So if you're able to go out and buy some right now, you can probably get it for half off. But it's twin XL beds. You can have a fridge, and so you want to work with your roommates to make sure that you're able to, someone's going to provide a fridge for the room. For every 2 people, you can have 1 fridge. So if you're in a double, you can only have 1 fridge, and if you're in a triple, you actually get to have 2 fridges. If you're in a quad, you can have 2, and if you're in a single, you only get 1, right? And the microwave also isn't provided, so that is an appliance that you can bring, right? So you can bring a microwave, again, only 1 per space. So even if you have a quad, you don't get 2 fridges or 2 microwaves. Even though you get 2 fridges, you only get 1 microwave, right? So those are some of the things to think about. But that link that you're dropping will have all the answers to that, as well as some more other things that I probably didn't say.
The list seems endless. You just keep scrolling, but it is such a good list to look at because no doubt there's things on there that people would not think about until they get here. And as you mentioned, then we have to send them home and say, oh, you can't have an air fryer, you can't have a crock pot, you can't have these things. But trust me, you have so many dining options too. Don't feel like you're going to miss out because there are plenty of things already prepared for you. But a microwave, that's a must. Mini fridge, that's a must. That'll get you through those nights, right? Okay, so let's see, other questions. Oh, there was one that came in that has to do with campus tours. And yes, we would love to have you come to our campus in person. You can either just show up and stroll around on your own. You can do that as well as schedule a family tour, an individual tour, group tour. We have tons of tours. Let me go ahead and hit enter on this in the chat box. There you guys go. You've got that link now to go straight to the tours page. Get yourself signed up for something. We offer them all the time. So I'm certain that if you just look there, peruse for a moment, that you will definitely find a date and time that will work for you and your family and your guests that you want to bring with you. And trust me, there's nothing like actually being here in person to see all of the beautiful green lawn spaces that we have for you to study, all the shaded areas with trees. We're a new campus, but we do still have some great landscaping. We have some trees that as time goes on, they're going to keep growing, but we also have some giant palm trees that were part of our new portion of campus. So those will greet you as well as you come in. So take a look at that website, get yourself signed up for a campus tour. I guarantee it's going to leave a huge impression on you because it's a campus, it's new, it's green, we're sustainable, we have a great carbon footprint, we're just, everything about us is just really amazing. Of course, we're biased because we're here, but stepping foot on campus, you see some of the pictures behind us here of one of our statues on campus and the green spaces again, Olympic-sized pool that we have that is a new addition. So go ahead and take a look, get yourself signed up, and who knows, you might just meet one of us while you're there because we're going to be there too. So go ahead and take a look at that link. Let's take a look, see what other questions we have. Oh, so we do have some coming in that have to do with the cost, contracts, the rates, those types of things. Take a look in that chat box because we did drop that link some time ago, but I will make sure to put it in there again for you. But a couple questions that, Ange, maybe you can answer specifically have to do with when people need to pay. So do they pay for a year upfront? Is it by semester? What does that look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it is per semester, right? So there is a billing period, so you don't have to pay upfront. At I believe it's the second or third week into the semester, the room will get billed to your student account, and whatever payment plan or financial aid that you have set up within your student account would take care of your housing and meal plan, right? So your housing and meal plan gets billed to your student account, and then whatever payment plan or process you have set up for that will take care of your housing and meal plan.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. And I went ahead and just dropped that link back over into the chat again. So that way, if you guys don't scroll back up to the top, you do have it there as a quick little click there for you. And let me take a look. We had another question that came through. So for our residence halls and for our rooms specifically, are they gender split, or how do we handle people that are not cisgenerated or gendered? I'm sorry.
Yes, I love that. So as I talked about the restrooms, we have gender specific and gender inclusive or gender neutral. Same thing for our housing. We actually have a gendered inclusive housing option. And so when you're doing your housing application, there is a question that will ask you, what is your preference for your housing type? And we'll ask you whether or not you are okay living in a gender inclusive space, if you prefer not to be in a gender inclusive space, right? Or you prefer solely to be in a gender inclusive space, right? And so when we talk about gender exclusive, there's a lot of different definitions out there. For us, it means anyone that doesn't go by their given or birth given gender, right? It's based on how they identify, right? So we base it on identity rather than sex. And so when you're looking at the gender inclusive housing, it's basically anyone who's open to live with anyone, right? So when you're talking about non-cisgendered, right, that is included in the gender inclusive.
Very good. And then just in general, what is the application process like? How does someone actually apply?
Yes, love that question. So if you're ready to apply, what you do is you go to the UC Merced housing website, and it should be on the homepage, and you actually just scroll down and it says apply here for the 2023 to 2024. Oh wait, no, that is the year that we're in. You're going to do the 2024 to 2025 housing application period. And so if it's not there right now, it should be live next week, and then you'll be able to start applying for your housing. And then you just log in, you start answering some questions, you make sure it all makes sense. You'll choose your LLC, you'll choose your room type, you'll choose your meal plan, you'll submit it, and then you'll get an email notification when it's ready to do the next steps, which is to sign your contract and to start picking your room and your roommates.
Very good. And then back to a question related to the restrooms. How many people typically share a restroom? And I know we have different dorm and residence hall styles, so I know it may vary.
Yes. So if we're looking specifically towards South Campus, it is a community style restrooms. There's multiple restrooms per floor, right? So if you're talking about if I go into the restroom, how many people do I see at once? It can range from 1 to like maybe 3 or 4 or 5. Right. I've never on my times that I've walked into the restrooms just to like check or do maintenance or things like that. I've never seen it completely utilized, and that's also because we have multiple restrooms on each floor.
Very good. And now, are pets allowed in the residence halls?
So pets specific aren't allowed, but you are permitted to have a service animal or an ESA. Those have to be approved though through the accessibilities office, right? So if you're someone that's looking to bring a service animal or an emotional support animal, it has to be approved first through the accessibilities office. And they would need some documentation. So you do have to not apply, but go through their process on making sure that your animal is registered before bringing them to the residence halls.
Perfect. And I did just drop that link over there in the chat box for the Student Accessibility Services website. So you guys can take a look there and get their contact information and just kind of peruse what their animal policy and other things might be that are listed there. All right, let's see. What other questions do we have coming in here? Oh, do we offer any type of telephone service? I don't know who really uses like landlines anymore. I think we all have cell phones, but that is a question we often get. Do we offer phone service or cable service for TV?
We do not offer cable service or phone service, but if a student needs to, maybe their phone broke and they need to make a phone call, they're more than welcome to come to the resident service desk and they can utilize our phone to make those phone calls. As well as they can reach out to their RA, and then the RA can also give them another resource on campus that may be closer, especially if it's after hours.
Very good. And then looking into some of our residence halls in the dorm rooms, again, it could vary depending on where they land in terms of that. But what types of furniture do we provide for everyone?
Yeah. So within the room, each room has a bed, has a desk, has a chair, has a closet that has some dressers, right? And so as well as a bulletin board for them to put up some decorations, right? So it's a very standard room, but you get all the furniture that you need to be able to succeed academically. You'll have a desk, you'll be able to decorate it however you want, right? You can put posters up, all the fun things. The only thing we ask is that you just don't hang anything from the ceilings. So that disco ball that you're looking to put up, not maybe underneath your bed.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's take a look here and see what else we have. Now, in the off chance that someone is listening and either they're not quite sure if they want the on-campus living experience, so they're looking at off-campus resources, or like I said, maybe they just haven't decided yet which option is for them. Do we have any resources for them to find an off-campus living situation or apartment?
Yeah. Definitely. So because we know on campus might not be for everyone, though it is highly encouraged to give it a try and see how it goes, right? But for those who are truly looking to live off campus, if you go onto the housing website, there is a tab that will take you to off campus resources. And so you'll be able to create an account, log in, and then see what are some of the apartment complexes or houses for rent. You'll also be able to meet other people who are also looking to live off campus, and maybe you want to pitch in for X, Y, and Z, who knows, right? But that is a resource that's available for you, specifically available through the housing website.
Very good. And then we talked about cable and phone service, but how about Wi-Fi connection? What type of service do we offer and how good is it?
Wi-Fi is available for you at all times on campus. You know, aside from the like on and off power outages from like the rainstorm that I know people had to experience, where they might have had like a short power outage. I didn't hear about it on campus. So in terms of having access to Wi-Fi, sometimes I walk people doing their full gaming session of I don't even know what it's called, but they're having like their full gaming session. I've walked into the lounge and see people playing Super Smash Bros, all that fun stuff. So Wi-Fi is readily available. You'll be able to do your homework, write some papers, stream some movies through Netflix, whatever it is. Wi-Fi is available on campus. And it's throughout campus, not just the resident halls.
Perfect. Now, early on in the presentation, you did talk about the living learning communities, the LLCs. Can we just touch on that a little bit since we are getting closer to the end of our event? And then once again, you guys still, everyone that's online with us right now, if you do have any last minute questions, now's your chance. Don't forget to go ahead and use that Q&A button, drop those questions over to us, and we will get to those before we wrap up.
Awesome. And so going back to the living learning communities, at the end of the day, when you're looking at living on campus, it's important to think and consider being part of a living learning community. They do have limited spots. So if there is a specific community that you're interested in based on your major, based on what it is that you want to do, based on some of the interests that you have, definitely check out one of the living learning communities, because that could be a great opportunity, not only for you to connect with academic resources, connect with peers, but also connect with a network of people who've either been in that community or have the alumni of the institution. And our LLC coordinators do an amazing job of bringing speakers to those events, having different types of programmings. Not only that, when you're part of an LLC, you also have these direct access to even more programs. I know they brought the Toastmasters onto campus once, and the students were able to start to perfect their public communication skills, all these different things, right? So when you're looking at living learning, the LLCs is a major part of being able to do that here at the UC Merced campus. So when you're living on campus, you're learning on campus, those two things go hand in hand in order to make sure that you get to across the stage, right? At the end of the day, all these resources are here for you, but they're only as good as you utilize them. So when you're looking to live here on campus, please stop by and say hi. Say hi to the LLC peer mentors and their coordinators, and we're just here to help.
All right, let's see what else we have. We are starting to wind down here. I'm just looking to see if we have any other questions coming in. Oh, there is one about safety and how safe our campus is and what it's like to live in the residence halls and maybe the security features that we offer.
Yeah, I love that question. So when I'm looking at the UC Merced campus, I see it as very safe, but at the end of the day, don't take someone just by their word. There's something called the Clery Act. And so you're able to go onto the UC Merced safety website, right? So the UCMPD website, and then you can actually look to see what is the safety rates for our campus community, right? So I'm very proud to say within the residence halls, I think it's safe, right? But at the end of the day, numbers will tell. And so you will be able to utilize those numbers to make an informed decision. But in terms of safety, we are safe. You're able to walk around campus. There's a mini lake on campus that I walk around at night as well. For me, it's just getting surprised sometimes when my RAs decide to scare me. But aside from that, it's really just a fun time on campus.
Fantastic. And I did over in the chat box just drop that link to the UCMPD website so you guys can take a look at that. There are some, I'm looking at it now on my side screen here, and there are some pictures that kind of rotate there, and there's tons of links that talk about a lot of the things that you heard about this evening. One thing I will also mention, when I first started my job here at UC Merced several years back, I was I guess pleased to see that we have a feature that they're like light poles, but they're called blue lights or blue poles. And it's an emergency feature. So if you're just walking along and you feel perfectly safe, but then for some reason, you just have this gut feeling like, it's getting a little bit dark, I'm feeling uneasy for some reason, or because of where we're located, maybe off in the distance, you see some type of wild animal, like a raccoon. I don't know how wild they are, but they do like to dig in the trash time to time. And you would like an escort, you can just push that button. You can hang out there, they will talk to you, and they will get someone over to you right away. So, and those, I don't know the exact distance between those poles, but I mean, you can see them all up and down the campus. So yeah, you can just make yourself get to one of those, hit that button, and you'll have help right away at your side. Well, we are getting close to the end, so this has been so much fun. And Ange, I really appreciate you being on screen tonight, being our expert guest and our speaker and presenter. I will go ahead and let you wrap up if you have any last words of advice before I give our farewell.
No, I just want to thank everyone for joining us, and I love the questions that I heard tonight. It's all about making sure that UC Merced is the place that you want to live. At the end of the day, as I shared before, the resources that we have are only as good as the people that utilize them. So definitely live on campus, utilize all the resources you have, attend all the events, use the free laundry, right? You don't have to go home to do laundry. You can do it here because it's free. And just make sure to have the best experience by connecting with as many people as possible. And that living learning community is a great way to give you that starting point or that jump start to do so.
Absolutely. Great advice. Great presentation tonight. I hope our audience was able to get all of their questions answered. I know we had a lot coming through and some help behind the scenes as well, getting to those. However, if you do have further questions, you can always reach out to us. We are more than happy to get to those and make sure that you are fully informed and that you know exactly where you're coming. We did mention those campus tours. We hope that you will take some time to get that scheduled and visit us here in person. I'm also going to drop one more link for you. I know we've sent out a lot tonight, but let me go ahead and drop this one over for you. This is going to be the link that will take you to the place where you had probably already been. That's how you got to this event tonight. There's links there for all of our future upcoming webinars, as well as some in-person events. So take a look at that page. It's the events page. You can also find the on-demand instant replay links just about a day or so after these live events occur. So as I mentioned, we're recording right now. And so this will get edited tonight and trimmed, and then we will put that online within the next day or so. We will also be sending out these types of links for events, the on-demand instant replays, important dates and deadlines for when housing application, when that opens, what the priority deadline is, admissions applications, every date and deadline you could possibly think of. We send those out on all of our social media networks as well. So the admissions office has some, so go ahead and pop over to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We also have a TikTok, that's our newest and greatest, where we're sending out a lot of information, fun videos to showcase our student community as well as our beautiful campus. So take a look at all of those places. We do our best to get all this information out to you, but when in doubt, give us a call and we will definitely get back to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Ange, for joining me on screen tonight, and for all of my great colleagues behind the scenes. My name is Ricky Hill, your e-recruiter. I'm so excited to meet you someday in person or at just our next online event. Check out that website and get yourself signed up. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Have a great night.